Hello, legends. Happy Friday. I'm going to give you some really good tips tonight for helping when you're using AI to help the AI to sound for your content creation. I'm going to start that again for helping it to sound human. The biggest mistake that we see when people are using AI for content creation is that it doesn't sound human, and that is why it's getting such a bad rap. So, for those who are new here, my name is Melissa Mitchell. I own a marketing agency and I specialize in organic marketing. I also have a B2C product where I have my own online courses and personal digital products for my own personal brand away from my agency. And I talk about this a lot using AI around marketing and teach smaller business owners how to use this. So it is a topic that I enjoy talking about. So anyway, I'm going to get started and share my screen in a moment. If you are leaving comments, I can't see them all. I am using a third-party software to stream here. But do leave your comments and I'll get back to you in a moment. I'm just going to turn that off, otherwise it's going to beep out of control. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Put this on because I can't see a thing. But yeah, do leave your comments and I will come back to those in a moment. I'm going to make this really quick tonight because I have a million things to do as always. But this is really, really going to help you with your content creation. And I do have a course coming out on this very soon, which is going to help you generate this your content in a orderly fashion and of course for it to sound human. And the whole reason you want it to sound human as well is sorry guys, just checking that I'm on the right channel there. The whole reason that you want it to sound human is, and I've mentioned this before if you've watched any of my content, is that your social media channels should be used like Google. And the problem is when you don't treat them like that and you are just generating hordes of content using AI. There is nothing wrong in producing a lot of content, but if you're just spitting it out just to get the content out there, the problem is everyone else is spitting out content. The whole aim is, if you're running a business on social media, is you want to be found through Google or through searches or through people who don't know you are sitting there and are looking for a solution to their problem. How do they know how to find you when they don't know who you are? They're going to type their problem into Google, and you can be ranked on there for your social media posts and your social media content. So keywords in your social media copy and your videos and that sort of thing is really, really important. So the problem is, if you're not treating your social media like this, like a search engine, you're not going to get seen. So when people mass produce content using AI, or even if they're just mass producing content, Google says, well, who am I going to put up first in those search results? So by not humanizing your content and not using AI correctly, you're doing yourself, your business a disservice. You're literally just getting content up there for the sake of it. So by using these tips that I'm going to show you, you are going to get much better results. You're going to be seen in search results on Google and through platforms. People now, particularly the younger generations, and hey, I'm 49, so the younger generations really aren't that young. When we're talking about the younger generations, they're picking up their phone and they are searching not through Google, they are searching through platforms like Instagram and TikTok for products and services that they need. They are using those platforms as a search engine. They are using things like ChatGPT as a search engine now. So that is why this is really important for you to get this right. So how can you make this? How can you make your copy using AI sound human? This is how you're going to do it. So I'm sharing my screen here. I need to get back into the document there. Okay, use the RISE framework. Now, you don't necessarily need to, hang on, view the tab in StreamYard. So you don't necessarily need to remember what Rise means. I have written a GPT. So a GPT is kind of like an app. I can send this to you. Or I'll pin it to the comments after I finish doing this live. A GPT is like an app, I guess, is the easiest way to describe it. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm talking about ChatGPT here. There are other different types of AI. Claude and Perplexity are probably the most popular ones, along with ChatGPT. What you do is when you go into there's all these different GPTs that you can use to help you, and you can use this My GPT with a free account. Now, I ran an event on this recently with a colleague of mine, and we talked about this. We spoke about all these different tips that you can use this with. Use along this topic, etc. This GPT that I've written, you use this in ChatGPT, and it's basically everything that I'm talking about. It's everything that I use in my agency that you can then use within ChatGPT, and it's basically my brain in the GPT that's going to help you with the content creation. But the parts that I can't help you with is your brand voice and tone, which I'm going to explain to you now. Now, there are two GPTs that I've written. One, if you're a business to business type of business. So if you're a business that is serving other businesses, so that's like, my agency, I serve other businesses. If you're a business to customer, a B2C business, so you're a business that services customers. So I also have a B2C business. So I'm serving, direct to a customer. So you've got an e-commerce brand, etc. I've got two separate GPTs. So it just depends on what type of business you've got. You can use either of these GPTs. They will do the same thing, but one's geared towards B2B and one's geared towards B2C. But they will both give you recommendations. Just one's a little bit more polished towards the B2B sector and one's polished towards the B2C sector. So both of them are programmed with the RISE framework, which I'm going to show you here. And the RISE framework basically stands for relatable, inspirational, simple, and engaging. Now, the example that I've given here, I just had to pick an industry. And the industry I've given is someone who's selling sports equipment. Completely out of my niche. I don't know anything about sports equipment. I don't exercise. I don't know anything about sport, but I just had to pick a niche. And I tried to pick something that I don't usually give an example in. Usually I give an example in the digital industry. So I was like, right, what can be something different? Okay, so relatable. This is how you're going to use the RISE framework. And as I said, if you use my GPT, it's been trained and programmed to what RISE is. But if not, you can just write down what the RISE framework is. The first thing is relatable. So what you're going to do is the example of how you're going to give the framework this to make it understand your brand and your tone and your voice, so that the AI output is more relatable to your brand and understands it. Remember, AI does not have a memory. I know it seems like it does, but it doesn't. It is relating to your behavior. So what you give it, it gives it back. So the first thing is the example of how you're going to give it what is relatable. So example is, and again, this is in the sports equipment industry. We know the struggle of finding equipment that can keep up with you, whether you're training for your first 5K or your next championship. We've been there too. So what do you want the AI to know that is relatable for your customer? Whatever that is. You could be selling diaries, you could be selling a dairy product, you could be selling pens. It doesn't matter. What is relatable to your customer? That's the first thing you're going to do with RISE. Find out what is relatable to your customer and tell the AI what it is. Next is inspirational. You're going to tell that's my dog, sorry. Little chihuahua, he's very noisy. What is inspirational? So the example that I've given you here is your goals are our motivation. With the right equipment, you can push boundaries, break records, and discover your true potential. So you don't have to write it as if you're talking to the customer. You could just say, our inspiration is that we want to empower everyone in Victoria to have the best diary available, that they can manage their business with ease, or, whatever your product is. That's what you're looking for here with the I, with inspiration. What is it that you do for your customer that is inspirational? Simple, S for simple. Example is, our products are designed to focus on what matters most: durability, comfort, and performance. You can focus on your game. So, what is simple about your product, or your brand voice, that matters most, and your tonality and etc., that is going to resonate with your audience and engaging. So the next one here in the rise is, what's the one piece of gear you can't live without during training? Let us know below. So how do you want your audience to engage with your content? So we want our audience to share, we want them to comment, we want them to get involved, we want them to feel part of our community, etc. Now, there's different. The RISE framework is, it's basic and it's generalized. You'll see some different variations of this, but this is a general guideline. As I said, any AI is going to know what the RISE framework is. So if you're not sure, just ask it. I want to tell you, ask the AI, I want to tell you my brand voice and tone based on the RISE framework. Can you ask me a series of questions before we get started so that you can understand what my brand is? Just ask it. It will ask you. You don't even have to remember this. So that's just some examples there on how you can give the AI a better input so you can get a better output. The last things here, just to give you some bonus tips, is always ask the AI for feedback and improvements. Ask it, can you now critique this? What would you do better based on my objectives? So your objective is, I really need to get this campaign moving. We're not getting any engagement. Our audience is in Melbourne. We're a new brand. No one's seen us online. We're missing the mark when it comes to connecting with our audience and finding that missing connection with our audience. What would you suggest that we do? Critique it, right? And then when it gives you back the feedback, ask it to then go and implement those changes that you're happy with. You don't have to implement them all if it doesn't resonate with you. The next thing is, give it feedback. Tell it what you like and what you don't like. Again, this is really important because I mentioned to you about behavior. AI is not memory based, it's behavior based. So the more that you train it and prime it in terms of behavior, the more easier it's going to get when you go back to use this same chat later. So I'm basing this on a free account. So of course you can use this with a paid account, but when you've got a free account, you can go back to that same chat over and over and over again, and it's going to remember the behavior there. I'm just going to stop sharing and go back to StreamYard there. It's going to remember the behavior there. So when you go back again and again and again, it's going to pick up this information. It's going to remember that's the tonality, what you like, what you dislike, and it's going to start to speed up the process to give you that content back in the way that you've been engaging with it. So that's how you get the human element. That's how you start talking to it as if you would talk to one of your staff members, and then it's going to start talking to you back, if that makes sense. Keep going back to the same chat. Now, the difference is when you're using it, and this will make sense when you look inside your ChatGPT or your account that you're using, is and you'll know what I mean if you've used ChatGPT before, the conversation will be stored down the side in the left. Go back to the same chat over and over again. Now, if you're using a paid account and you're using your own GPT that you've written, it's going to be stored up the top on the right, and this created GPT that you've made won't store the conversation visually, so you won't be able to see the previous chat. However, the behavior is going to be there, and there's some better limitations with a paid account. In saying that, if it's just you and it's just your brand, you don't always need the paid account. It depends on how much you're going to be using it. I do have the paid account. I have a marketing agency. I need it. I'm literally using it for so many different things, from the morning literally to midnight some days, because I've got both my B2B product and my B2C. So there's so much to do, but you may not need that. So in which case, you're free. The conversation is going to be stored on the left. So just keep going back to that. So the better the input that you give it, the better output you're going to give it. As much as you can give it, the higher quality you're going to get. So I hope that helps. Now, if you would like to use my GPT, check the comments. It doesn't matter what channel you're watching on. I'll drop it in the comments, except for Instagram, because you can't do that on Instagram. Or there'll be a link in the bio somewhere, or YouTube, it'll be in the description. You'll be able to get my GPT somewhere, or shoot me a message and I'll be able to get that to you. Just remember, I do have 2 GPTs that I've written. One is geared towards if you're a business to business model, if you're more a business to customer model, e-commerce, retail, etc. There's just the 2 variations. Either way, they will both assist you with your content creation. And keep an eye out. I'm almost complete on writing, have completed, I should say, on writing a course on structuring your content for the whole year. Yeah, and that's about to be released soon. So if that's something of interest to you, keep your eyes out for that, because I'll be releasing that very soon. So don't forget to like, share, follow whatever channel you're watching this on. And if you are watching the replay, do drop your questions below, because I'll get back to you on that as well. Thank you for joining. I'll chat to you guys later. See you then. Bye.